you take her to find what's waiting inside the year of the cat.
MDR 97.1 live and streaming. We were just listening to Al Stewart with the Year of the Cat.
Well, I was
trying to find. I know it's not the Year of the Cat, but I was just trying to find something that would fit in for the current interview.
Well, it's actually the Year of the Goat, I'm told. Now, joining me this morning is Feng Shui Master Jody Brunner, and she's going to give us some useful hints how to have a more successful year in 2015. And it's now 10 years as a lecturer for Master Joseph Yu's Feng Shui Research Centre. And we'll be talking about the face, how it shows your fortune, and also a tour that Jodie's organising to Hong Kong. And it'll be finishing elsewhere, but she can talk about that a little later. Good morning, Jodie.
Good morning, Judy-Anne.
Should I call you Master Jodie?
If you like, but
right.
That's okay. That's just a formal title. It doesn't really mean that
okay,
much.
Right. Well, you tell me what you'd like to be called.
Jodie is fine.
Okay, right. I guess I've been talking to you for many years, so the listeners always ring in. Every time I finish, and they ring in, they say, "Why did you stop?"
Oh, that's nice.
I say, "Well, I have to go to the next one." But so this coming year is the Year of the Goat. Why the goat?
Well, there's 12 animal signs, and the goat is like number 7. Yeah, in the series of 12.
Mm-hmm.
So each animal sign, people are familiar with them, and they think that, say, for instance, if you are born in the year of the goat, that means that you take on the characteristics of a goat.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really true.
Isn't it?
No.
Oh. No. So the when people say, "What star sign are you?" and they say, "Well, you know, was it Capricorn the goat?" I think
in
remember.
Western astrology, it would be Capricorn, I suppose.
Yes, so I don't know whether that follows or not, but they do say the characteristics of a goat are stubborn as a goat, but so it doesn't follow for that. Oh, right, okay.
Well, that's because actually everybody has 4 animals, not just one. So
I see.
We have one for the year, one for the month, one for the day, and one for the hour.
So you can just imagine cobbling 4 animals into one. What sort of animal it would look like?
Well, it's an interesting question, actually. There's been a bit of a debate lately about whether it's the year of the goat or the year of the sheep.
Oh.
Because the Chinese character goat and sheep is the same, but there's actually 2 characters involved in the description, and the first character is a different one for goat and a different one for sheep, but the second character is the same. So some people call it the year of the sheep, and some say it's the year of the goat, and people say which one, but actually it doesn't matter.
So I guess as a little tacker, we actually had a pet sheep. And we used to shear it like a poodle. We took it down to the beach one day, and it just went like this, and everyone couldn't figure it out.
That's hilarious.
We thought it was funny too. Oh, never mind. But
actually, we used to have a pet sheep too when I was living on the farm. I lived on a farm for a couple of years, and used to follow us around the backyard.
I know, they're very tame.
They are, and they're very, very cute, and they can be smart, actually. You know,
they have a personality, don't they?
They do.
They do. Now, I was looking in some of the Feng Shui books that I have at home, and one of them said that the Chinese restaurants have fish tanks at the front door to attract money. Is that right?
Well, it's interesting that you should ask me about fish tanks, because I just this week put some information on my blog because I had a media interview with a magazine. It's sort of equivalent to Women's Weekly in Lithuania, of all places.
Lithuania.
So they published my answers to their questions, and it was all about fish tanks.
Really? So you're supposed to have an odd number, is that right?
Oh, well, actually, not necessarily. I mean, people do say that. And the reason why is because odd numbers are yang and even numbers are yin. But in fact, I mean, we have a fish tank at home, and originally we put 5 fish in there, odd number, but, 3 of them didn't make it, didn't survive. So we ended up with 2, and that seems to be the right size for the tank.
Right. And what about black ceilings? Why is it that some books say you shouldn't have a black ceiling?
Well, because heaven is yang and earth is yin. So what is above us should be lighter colour than what is below us.
So that's why they usually put a white ceiling first of all, and then anything else. Is that right?
Well, yes, quite possibly. Although, I do hear that, and even in Feng Shui I was taught that the ceiling should be lighter than the floor. But when I go to China and have a look at some very ancient old houses, quite often the ceiling is dark.
I see.
Yeah. And probably that's why they say paint the ceiling white. There's a very practical reason for that. Is because in the old days they was using old-fashioned candles or gas lamps and so forth. And so in order to brighten up the house, if they paint the ceiling or the upper walls in a white colour, it will reflect the light better.
Well, that's very practical. In fact, I think with Feng Shui or Feng Shui, whatever people like to call it, there's often a practical thing behind the actual notion of a particular rule or saying or whatever it is in Feng Shui.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I like to study Chinese architecture as well, because that gives me more of an insight as to why they do the things that they do. And it's all linked together, especially in the old days.
So you're heading off, I understand, next year in October to Hong Kong.
Yes.
So that's, I mean, you frequent that place, don't you? And
I do.
Yes. So this time you're taking some people with you.
Yes, well, I'm running a Feng Shui tour from the 10th to the 18th of October, and we start in Hong Kong, and we travel from Hong Kong to Guilin. So first of all, we spend a couple of days in Hong Kong, and we visit the local temples and a couple of a local Feng Shui master and a couple of very famous Feng Shui sites in Hong Kong. Because one of the reasons why I love to go there is because the Hong Kong Chinese just love Feng Shui, and you see it everywhere, from the smallest doorway to the most gigantic building. So it's a great place to go and study Feng Shui techniques from different people and how they've done things that they do.
So where do you end up?
Well, we end up in Shanghai, but along the way we're going to, we're taking an overnight sleeper train from Hong Kong to Guilin. And in Guilin, it's very famous for the mountains there, and we're going to study the mountains, and there's one I think it's called Black Dragon Mountain, something like that. We're going to go there. I'm still doing my research, so...
Stay tuned. I'll give that phone number a little bit later.
Thank you.
Now, also with people's bedrooms, how can people improve their relationship or the elements in the bedroom?
Well, if a relationship needs improving, then I would say one thing is to avoid green colours in a bedroom.
Really?
Yeah, because green, apart from, there's an old saying, never give a Chinese person a green hat.
Really?
Because it means, it's a very old word, and I always remember that word. It means that they're a cuckold. Which means something like, that they like to play around.
Right. I see. So, any shade of green is
apparently
verboten?
So, yeah. And actually, the word green in Chinese, which is qing, it can mean green or like a light blue azure blue type colour.
Yes.
So I wouldn't give a Chinese person a green hat.
Right. Okay, so no green in the bedroom. So what colours do you think are best in a bedroom
Well,
then?
the other reason why no green in a bedroom is green can be a very argumentative colour as well.
Oh, so wearing green itself can be argumentative, or just in the bedroom?
Necessarily, yeah,
just in the bedroom.
I think more in the bedroom. You see, the wall where we sleep, where our bed head is located, that wall has a certain type of chi, or life force energy.
Right.
So when we're sleeping there, we absorb that type of chi, and then it just depends on what type of chi is there, and that's where Feng Shui comes into it. We can calculate what type of chi is there and how that will affect the people in terms of relationships, health, and even personality.
I see. And they do say, apparently, avoid putting a water element in the bedroom to it will drain out prosperity. Now, what is a water element?
Well, in that case, they'd be talking about real water, like a fountain or a fish tank.
I see.
Yeah. So putting the real water in a bedroom, well, a bedroom is a yin place, yin meaning quiet and peaceful, and a fish tank or water feature is yang.
I see.
So therefore, we don't put
and
yang
yet that's
things.
a quiet, calm. They always say a fish tank's very calm.
Well,
So,
yes, but I suppose, from a Feng Shui perspective, there's movement, there
I
is
see.
activity there. Yeah, so that's what we mean. So in terms of yin and yang, active is a lounge room or entrance hall, and yin is a bedroom.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, the business Feng Shui online, that's an unusual thing to do online.
Well, yes, actually, I teach my courses. Some of them are written by Master Joseph Yu and from Toronto in Canada, and this one is one that he's written.
Yeah.
And then I've also added my own business case studies to that.
Right.
But that one is actually a professional course for people who are studying Feng Shui or practicing Feng Shui, who want to enhance their knowledge about business Feng Shui, because there's some different techniques that we use in a business situation to what we would use in residential.
I see. So people who are in business should pay attention to that.
Well, yes. In fact, for a business, it's most important, especially, to have a good entrance.
Right.
And so the orientation of the building or the office even is important, because the direction that it's facing determines the type of chi that enters. And
so what's the best entrance? What's the best...
I'd love to answer that in a simple way.
Yes.
For instance, in China, everybody says south is the best direction, because the emperor always faces south, because that's like the way that the imperial palace was built, and it's just a uniformity that is carried through the whole of China. But this does not mean that south is always the best. At the moment, it is pretty good, but every 20 years the Feng Shui changes, and we're halfway through what we call period 8. So in 2024, February, we move into period 9, and the Feng Shui will change again.
So at the moment, if you have a business, it should face south, or because we're in the southern hemisphere, do you reverse it?
Yes, a tricky question, and people often ask me that, but we don't need to change Feng Shui for the southern hemisphere. We do have to take into consideration the passive solar effect, location of the sun and that sort of thing. But actually, when we use Feng Shui, we use a compass, and we're measuring the Earth's magnetic field at any place. So therefore, we don't have to change the calculation that we use in Feng Shui, because the compass is always pointing north-south. It depends. It doesn't matter where you are, unless you're exactly on the north or south magnetic pole. Then the compass needle goes vertical instead of horizontal.
So, just to round up on that bit, so a business should face south for its front door. Is that right?
Well, yes, you can say that one good direction for a business to face in this period of time is to face south, with the front door in the south. But that also depends on not only the type of business, but also when they moved into the premises.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, it can get complicated.
Yes.
So you actually have
time
to...
and space.
So you have to actually bring your own details, and then it's all sorted out from that point, is it?
That's right. That's why usually it's best if I go out and have a look at a
see.
premises.
Right.
Yeah, or potential premises.
So that course is 6 weeks from the 11th of February till the 18th of March.
Yes, at night online.
6:30 till 9:30.
Yes, I just finished another online class. I train a lot of practitioners too, so I just finished an online class, Feng Shui practitioner training class, which was how to write reports and how to put everything together, including all the business end of things that we need to do to be a good consultant.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Now, face reading absolutely enthralls me because when I look at ears, I sort of gain a little bit of knowledge about the person. But you're doing a face reading module in March, so people perhaps should look that up. That's Saturday the 20th and 21st, Saturday, the 20th and 21st of March from 9 till 5.
Yes, it's actually Friday, Saturday is Module 1, and Monday is Module 2.
Mm-hmm. And when people look at faces, what do you see?
Well, actually, now that you've asked me, I'm looking at your face online.
Oh, are you now? Oh.
There's a nice picture of you with an article about setting her second sights on victory.
Oh, right.
That's the first photo that came up just while we're chatting.
I see. Yes, it's judy-anne.com.
Yeah.
JUDYANNS.com.
You're right. You're right. That's what came up.
So
actually,
what are you looking at?
Your name came up first.
Oh, right. So what are you looking at, and what do you say? What can you tell?
Well, I can see that your face is round, and a round is called a yun face. And yun face people are very easygoing and like to be liked by other people, enjoy that, and also get along well with other people.
Oh, yes, I
very
think that's
accommodating.
Paul on the panel is giving me a strange look. And because according to the people that read faces like yourself, every mole, bump, lump, eyebrow, nose, lips, cheeks and chin, they reveal a lot about character and the personality of the person.
Yes.
And you can diagnose health, wealth, personality, career, children, present, future, past trends of a person's life. Goodness me. It all comes into play, doesn't it?
It's a very interesting subject. It really is. For instance, when I look at your eyebrows, they nicely frame your eyes, and they're long. From what I can see in the picture here, of course, maybe you're wearing makeup there, but when your eyebrows go from one side of the eye right around to the other side of the eye, it means that you have not only good protection, but if someone asks you to do something, then you will start it and you will complete that.
Yes, that's probably right. Yes, as an advocate, that I'm often asked to go into bat for them for various things. It might be, some sort of electricity bill that's enormous that shouldn't have been, sort of things like that. So
I didn't know that side of you.
Oh, yes. I think some of the major companies, as soon as they see the name Judy-Anne Steed, they go...
Are you a bit like Australia's version of Gloria Aldridge?
I don't. Well, Gloria Aldridge, did you say?
Yes.
From...
You know, the lawyer from America.
Oh, right, yes. Shine lawyers. Yes.
Well, the other one, she goes on, she does sort of a Judge Judy type show.
Well, my son, I must admit, he calls me Judge Judy sometimes.
I love that show. I love Judge Judy.
Yes. Now, you mentioned here also in the face reading of 4 pillars of destiny. Yes. So what's that exactly?
Well, 4 pillars of destiny is basically our 4 animals, based on the hour, the day, the month, and the year.
Oh, goodness.
So we call those the 4 pillars: the hour pillar, the day pillar, the month pillar, the year pillar.
I see. Well, I'm sure that when you do the course, you'll know all about it by the end.
Oh, yes. Well, actually, one thing that I hadn't mentioned in my upcoming events is a online webinar that I will be having running on the 1st of February, and that is my Year of the Goat annual seminar.
Year of the Goat annual seminar.
Yes,
right.
and that will be online.
Right, okay.
Yeah. This year it will be online. Sometimes I run it at a venue, but this year I'm going to run it online because then a lot of people ask me from different countries or different parts of Australia, do I make a recording or whatever? So this year or next year I'm going to do it online instead of in person.
Right, okay.
And for those who purchase my Feng Shui kit, which is the 2015 Year of the Goat kit, they get to attend my webinar for free.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what's your website, by the way?
It's www.fengshuimaster.com.au.
fengshuimaster.com.au.
That's FENGSHUI master.com.au.
Yes, .com.au. And I'm sure if they just put in Master Jody Brunner, BRUNNER, something will come straight up, will it?
It will, I should imagine.
I think so. Now, just any politician that you've noticed when you look at faces, for instance, with our esteemed Prime Minister,
Yeah.
what do you see in his face for the coming year? Is there anything potentially, striking?
Well,
Or for our
Judy-Anne,
statement.
one thing that we like to avoid is politics and religion. And I'll tell you why. Years ago, when I was up in Cairns seeing a client, I got a call from the media asking me about to comment on the faces of some local people,
Right.
and without knowing who they were.
Oh.
So I made some comments here and there. And not that you would do this, of course, because I know you're ethical, but they were taken totally out of context.
Oh, no.
And it ended up that one of the ladies was the Lord Mayor. So they said that I said that she was not likeable.
Oh.
So they turned it into a political statement, you see.
Oh, I see.
So I tend not to these days. I'm a bit wary about making social comments.
I think I could probably predict that he's going to have a difficult year.
Yes.
And that his ers and ums will probably continue,
Yes.
especially when he's being interviewed by John Feng, because he puts him on the spot.
Oh, well,
which
he
is
does that with everybody,
774.
doesn't he? Yeah.
Yes, but I imagine that this $5, whatever this is for the rebate, I'm not sure whether that'll go ahead, because it seems to be just a cut down version of the $7 one. For
Well,
anyone
one
that's
thing,
listening.
when we look at someone's face, the most I can make one comment about his ears, because when you have
Prince
the
Charles
ears
ears,
sticking
isn't
out
it?
like that, Prince Charles' ears, it often means that you see if you do that with your ears and poke them out even as we're speaking, you can hear better.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Well, the elderly back, instead of having a hearing aid, they would put their hand around the base of, and it's like a trumpet.
Yes, that's right. So that means that you can hear things better when your ears are sticking out. So when you hear things better, you can input more information.
That doesn't mean to say that the output is going to be any better. I think he hears things, but I don't think he wants to know. That's the problem.
Well, it's about discerning the information. If you can hear more information coming in, then you also have to filter more information.
Yes, well, that can be an issue. And what about entertainers? Have you ever come across entertainers that you can, looking at their face, that you can see into them a little bit?
Well, actually, a lot of actors I do know about. I study their chins. The reason being that there's 10 different face shapes, and one of the face shapes is called Jar, which is Jar, J-I-A. J-I-A. It's one of the 10 heavenly stems, we call them.
Yes.
A jar face is a person that has a wide forehead and a high forehead, and then more or less a pointy chin.
Can you think of anyone that resembles that?
Well, I'm thinking of Angelina Jolie.
Oh, yes. Right.
Not her, but her husband had a mental blank then. Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
Brad Pitt.
Yes, right. So it's Brad Pitt that has that.
He does have that face shape. That's a very good actor's face shape. In fact, even Barack Obama has that face shape.
So does that make them more practical?
It makes them good at acting.
Right.
and look, I think to be a politician, you have to be an actor to a certain extent as well. You have to be able to read your lines. You have to memorise things. And be able to speak to audiences.
Now, have you anything to leave the listeners with that is practical to help them in prosperity, for instance, or relationships?
Well, if we're talking about 2015 and what to do for next year, and maybe we may even have another talk before the new year anyway, but as a little hint early in the year, that north in 2015 is quite a good prosperity direction. North? Yes.
Oh, my front door faces by northeast.
Oh, okay. So you're close to the career success direction.
I see. Oh, well, that's good to know. Although I do use the side door when I park the car. So what does that mean?
Yes. Well, that's the sort of thing, you see, that we need to know, because when we enter the house, we carry certain chi in through the door. And one of the things in Feng Shui that I might do would be, say, to someone, use a different door to enter the house.
So it's a west... Sorry, north?
Yeah, well, if you feel like you're not being lucky in your life, and this is a general recommendation for everybody, or if you move into a new house and you're not sure whether your wealth is going so well, try using a different door to enter the house.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, I have 3 doors.
For at least 3 weeks, I would say.
Right. And what should you notice?
That wealth improves, or it could get worse.
I see. So then you swap doors.
Yes, because every house changes. The floor plans are so different. The age of the house is different, and also the people who live there are different and have different vocations.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, it's always fascinating to talk with you, Jody.
Thank you, Judy-Anne.
Now, people can go to your website, which is fengshuimaster.com.au. That's FENGSHUI, and there is a phone number there for the tour. You can phone 0408 173 710. That's 0408 173 710. And I wish you well for the year of the goat, and thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, Judy-Anne. You have a lovely year too.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
We've been talking with Jody Brunner, who is the Feng Shui master, and has given us some useful hints on how to have a more successful year in 2015. Coming up, we'll have some sponsors announcements, and then we'll be talking with Bert Sanders, who acts as Joseph in many of the nativity scenes around Melbourne. You're listening to 3MDR 97.1 on your dial, live and streaming. And it's Judy-Anne Steed and Paul on the panel. Stay tuned.